Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And as we do every week, we welcome this very special day, the day that we all need as individuals, as families, as a community, as a people, the day of Shabbat. We are on page 128, 128 of our prayer books. In the middle of the page, with Yedide Nefesh.
Yedid nefesh, ahavat haman, meshochat el retzonecha, yarot samach emo ayai,
This week Torah portion, the name is very meaningful and very relevant for the times that we are living, and in times that we are living for 700 days, exactly today. This week Torah portion starts by telling us, Ki tetze la milchama al oibecha. When you go to war against your enemies. And 700 days ago, we started a war that we didn't choose, that it came knocking to our doors. And as a people, as a nation, we responded. But what is interesting is that in this week Torah portion is the Torah portion with the most amount of mitzvot. More than 12% of the 613 mitzvot appear in this week Torah portion. And the rabbis ask why. Why happen to be in this week Torah portion that we have the most amount of mitzvot? Because they say, when you go to war against your enemy, you need to be surrounded by the mitzvot. You need to be anchored by the mitzvot. You need to know why you're fighting for and with what rules you're fighting for. And this Shabbat, when a few moments we light the Shabbat candle, we still think and put in our hands, our hearts, the 48 of our brothers and sisters that for 100 Shabbatot were unable to light the Shabbat candles with their loved ones. But on the other hand, we celebrate that we are able, week after week, to bring light to ourselves, our family, our community, and the world. At this moment, I would like to invite all the women in our congregation that would like to partake in the mitzvah of Adlakat Neirot to please come up to the bima so you can lead us in the Shabbat candle lighting. And if at home you have Shabbat candles, and if you do not, it's a good time to go and look for them so we can be united in time and space. Please rise. We may be seated. We are on page 130. We have 6 sounds, 6 songs, one for each day of the creation. Starting with Lehunana on page 130, celebrating the first day of the creation.
Lehunena, nena, lehunena, nena, lehunena, nena, Adonai. Lehunena, nena, lehunena, nena, lehunena, nena, Adonai. Naria, naria, lezuri sheinu, nekad mafana betoda.
At the bottom of page 131, celebrating the second day of the creation, Yismechu Hashamayim betagel haaretz.
Yismechu Hashamayim. Let's try that again. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. There you go. Yismechu Hashamayim betagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim. Yismechu Hashamayim betagel haaretz. Be ready with the claps. Iramayam, 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 umlo. Iramayam, 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 umlo.
Light is sown for the righteous, radiance for the upright. At the bottom of page 131, the last verse of this psalm, Or Zarua, La Tzadik.
Or Zarua, La Tzadiko, Li Shelef Tzimcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadiko, Li Shelef Tzimcha. Tzimcha tzadikim b'Adonai, b'Adonai, be'odo lezecher kodesho, lezecher kodesho. Or Zarua, La Tzadiko, Li Shelef Tzimcha. Or Zarua, La Tzadiko, Li Shelef Tzimcha.
Mizmor Shir Adonai, Shir Chadash, Ki Niflahot Asa. A psalm, sing to God, a new song, for God has worked wonders in our lives. We are now on page 134, celebrating the fourth day of the creation with the Zambru.
So you mentioned about the 700 days in Israel, and I was thinking about this Zambru from Navat Eilah, a renewal synagogue in Israel, and so we play this melody today in remembrance. Zambru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor, vekol zimru Zamru l'Adonai Behinor Bekol Simran Zamru l'Adonai Behinor Bekol Simran Zamru l'Adonai Behinor Bekol Simran Zamru l'Adonai Behinor Bekol Simran.
And it was evening, and it was morning of the 5th day of the creation. We are on page 135, the last verse of this psalm, Romemo.
רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו רוממו אדוני אלוהינו והשתחוו להקדשו כי קדוש אדוני אלוהינו רוממו
We are now on page 136, celebrating the last day of the creation. Each one of the psalms correspond to each one of the 6 days of the creation. And this psalm, Psalm 29, corresponds with the moment that God decided to create human beings. And you know that all the angels were in agreement to create everything that is part of the world. But they were discussing about the creation of human beings. Most angels thought that it wasn't a good idea to create us. I think they were smart. But they continue, and this was discussed by Hillel and Shammai 2,000 years ago. And for 2.5 years, according to the Talmud, they discuss. Some say it was good for human beings to be created because they can do good in the world. Some said it wasn't good for the world, for human beings to be created because they can damage the world and they can damage themselves. So after 2.5 years, the Talmud said that the rabbis voted. And the vote was that it wasn't a good idea for us to have been created. But then the rabbis of the Talmud say, but now we have been created. We cannot change that. So we need to do what we are invited to do during the month of Elul, to review our actions. We are already part of this world. So now it's up to us, lefashfesh b'ma'asav, to review and consider our actions. On Psalm 29, page 136, Mizmor LeDavid.
מזמור לדוד הבול אדוני בעיני אלים הבול אדוני כבוד בעוז הבול אדוני כבוד Adonai os לעמו ייתן, Adonai יברך את עמו, את עמו
May God grant strength to his people. May God bestow on his people peace. Shalom. We are on page 138. And as a community, we will try to receive the Shabbat with joy. We are remembering this Shabbat, as we said many times, and we are going to keep reminding ourselves. 700 days since October 7, 100 Shabbatot of suffering as a people, as a nation. But you know, when the Jewish people, someone from our people, is going through the Shiva after the death of a beloved one, they break the Shiva on Shabbat. During each one of the days of the Shiva, they follow the tradition. They are in mourning. But the Shabbat is that possibility that break our state of mourning. We cannot be mourning. We cannot be suffering. We cannot be weeping for 700 straight days. We need to find in our tradition this me'ein olam haba, this taste of the world to come, of paradise, that is the Shabbat, like a parenthesis in our suffering as a people. That's what we have been doing for the last 100 Shabbatot as a community. And once again, for us, for our people, for the world, let's receive the Shabbat of healing, the Shabbat of peace. On page 138 with the Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekavelai, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, yaralai, 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 bnei Shabbat, nekavelai.
וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד. אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשמו תפארת ולתהילה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה יללה יללה, לשבת נקבלה. לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 לשבת נקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו בניך, כי היא מקור הברכה. מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה מחשבה תחילה.
לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 לשבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, יללה, 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 לשבת נקבלה. מקדש מלך עיר מלוכה, קומי צאי מתוך ההפכה. רב לך שבט בעמק הבכה, והוא יחמול עלייך אחד.
לך דודי לקראת כלה ולשבת נקבלה
לקדותי לקראת כלה
ולשבת נקבלה
התנערי מעפר קומי לפני בגדי תפארתך מעל יד בן ישי הבאת לחמי קורבן נפשי גאה בני שבת נקבלה
לחדותי לקראת כלה בשבת נקבלה התעוררי התעוררי כי באורך קומי אורי 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 שיר דברי כבוד אדונייך עלייך נגלה
לחדותי לקראת כלה יד עלי בני שבת נקבלה לחדותי לקראת כלה יד עלי בני שבת נקבלה לא תבושי ולא תקלמי מה תשתוכחי ומה תהמי אך יחסו אני הימי ונבנתה עיר עתידה לקדותי לקראת כלה יד עלי בשבת נקבלה לקדותי לקראת כלה יד עלי בשבת
Please rise and let us face the entrance of our Beit Knesset, our sanctuary and our homes, to receive the Shabbat with each one of the blessings that Shabbat can bring to ourselves, our families, our people and the world. May this be finally a Shabbat of peace, a Shabbat of healing.
בשלום התרד בלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני ים סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת
We may be seated. And once that the Shabbat is here, we sing to the Shabbat on page 140. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. And for this psalm, I'm going to leave you in the good hands of the cantorial soloist of TBO, of our sister congregation as part of Broward Central Synagogue, Andy Sussman. And then we will hear some words of Torah with TVO interim Rabbi Stephen Snyderman on page 140, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat, a song for the day of Shabbat.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, וזמר לשמך עליון, וזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, וזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי הגיון בכינור. יא לי לי, יא לי לי, לי לי לי, יא לי לי, יא לי לי, לה לה לי, לה לה לי, יא לה לי, לה לה לי, לה לי.
If my words sound rather somber, we will have some hope in what Andy is going to be singing after I am finished. Words of hope. Ki tetzeh, yes, use the microphone, yes. Ki tetzeh lemilchama. When you go out to war, just leave it at that. Don't read anymore for the time being. There's almost an acceptance that war is part of the human condition. Later you will hear something that will have a different approach and a hope for the end of war. But when that text was written, war was part of the human condition and certainly is. Now on a different level, and this is to tease you to read the words that come next, that's your homework assignment, the rabbis had to deal with the issue of captives in war, particularly female captives, and how the rabbis tried to tone things down through the ages. Now we are faced with a different situation, not just the 700 days, but a rather ominous situation right now where we don't know in the next day or two or three or whenever when this war will be escalated and what on earth the results will be. We could be very academic about it and list all the pros and all the cons, but both sides have a lot that is wrong with them. There is no easy answer. With that very, very sad note, on Shabbat, we're not supposed to end that way. We're supposed to end with something uplifting. So there is something that we don't have any more wars, that we beat our swords into plowshares, that there will be a future time when the world will be a different place, where if there are disputes, they will be resolved in a far more peaceful way. So,
לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. לא יישא גוי אל גוי חרב, לא ילמדו עוד מלחמה. ואהבת לרעך כמוך, זה כלל גדול בתורה. ואהבת לרעך כמוך, זה כלל גדול בתורה. And everyone eat their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And everyone eat their vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And to plowshares beat their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares beat their swords, nations shall learn war no more. Love your neighbor as yourself, the greatest pearl of the Torah's wealth.
can you hear that song?
Please rise. as we mark the beginning of our evening service on page 144 with Hatzi Kaddish.
יתקבל ויתקדש מרבה,
אמן.
ולמד יברח ילותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכונו ויומכון ובחיי כל בית ישראל בעגלה ועגלה ובזמן קריב ועמדו אמן. יהי שמרה ומבורך לעולם לעולמי עלמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל שמי קודשיו ולה מכל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה בנחמתה דמירם בעלמם. We remain standing on page 146 to become one community praying together with the Baruch.
Am I awake? Am I prepared? Can you listen in to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Barecho et Adonai Amevorach. Baruch Adonai Amevorach. Leolam vaed, leolam vaed. Yada lai lai lai, 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 yada lai lai lai.
We may be seated. And we continue our tefillah, our prayer on page 148 as we say together the first one of the two blessings that prepare us for the Shema Israel. Please join me at the top of the page. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidba'aro ma'arabim arabim בחוכמה פותח שרים, ובתבונה משנה עתים ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים בשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו, בורא יום בלילה, גול אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור, ומעביר יום ומי בלילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובלילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, Amarib, Arabim. Second one of the blessings could be found on page 150. And our dear Rabbi Cantor Gaston is going to lead us in this everlasting love, in this Avat Olam, with the melody of his choice.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, ושוכבנו וקומנו, נשיח בחוקך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי ימי חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, והם נגד יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Israel.
Amen. Please rise. And we close our eyes for the Shema Israel this evening of Shabbat to connect with the generations that precede us, that chanted the same words, and with the generations that will come in the future repeating the same words, and to unite ourselves with the Jewish people around the globe. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Baer. We may be seated. And please join me in the Ve'avta on page 154. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על בניך ושמתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתן להות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על משושות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמן. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go is eternally Egypt, that there's a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there's no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together as we sing on page 158, the song of freedom, the song of redemption, the Micha Mocha.
לפני משה צהליאנו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם מהר יאללה לי
We are now on page 160 with the last one of the blessings that follows the Shema Israel every night. It's the prayer, the blessing when we ask God to protect us, to take care for us, the ones that are near and far away. And it's the prayer that we ask God to shelter us beneath the sukkah of peace. And the sukkah is not perfect. You can suffer a little bit of the wind, the heat, even rain. Peace shouldn't be perfect. Peace should be just that, as a sukkah, as a place that we can gather even with all the imperfections. Peace is better than anything else. Ashkibeinu on page 160.
השכיבנו, אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו, אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ותקננו בעצה טובה מלפניך. השכיבנו, אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו, אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Shield us and shelter beneath the shadow of your wings. Defend us against enemies, illness, war, famine, and sorrow. Distance us from wrongdoing. Baruch Ata Adonai, apore sukat shalom aleinu, bal kol amo Israel, be'al Yerushalayim. Page 162. We declare the sanctity of the day of Shabbat as we sing together the Beshamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש,
Shabbat by Nafash.
שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Please rise. This is the moment of the silent Amida, our private prayers. Starting, if we want to use the words of our tradition, on page 164, we'll find the words of the Amida of the evening of Shabbat. If not, we take a few moments in silence to try to meditate and elevate our own prayers. we conclude our own prayers, we return to be a community, to ask for the only thing that we are able to ask on Shabbat, that is for the healing for all those who need the Misheberach.
Misheberach Lavoteinu Mekor Abracha Leimoteinu. May the source of bless, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
We ask refuah shleima this Shabbat for Charles Poncher, Uriel Jacob Ben Keren Or, Doris Franz Estelle Barsh, Martin Kaiser, Nori Kaiser, Rabbi Abraham Ben Batia, Batia Batrina Tikba, Bill Appel, Bobby Siegel, Beth Ginsburg, Phyllis Bin Elas, Kenny Pomerance, David Kreis, Abigail Bat Laura, Brooke Shapiro, Sandy Grotsky, Nisa Warlen, Craig Glasser, Ivan Pelton, Shlomo Mandel. הקדוש ברוך הוא ישלח להם רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף. שבת עם יריזוק. May God send them a speedy and complete recovery in body and in soul. And let us all say,
Misheberach limotenu mekor abracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
you may be seated. Shabbat Shalom. So as I told you, Parashat Kititze is the Torah portion with the most amount of over how many? 70. Very good. You did good. Can go happy. Out of all the Torah portions, there's no Torah portion with more amount of mitzvot. More than 70. So it's hard to choose what to talk about. And I choose one that I'm sure that most rabbis are not going to talk about, because there's some that are much more intense. There's a mitzvah, for example, about if your child misbehaves and doesn't hear the voice of the father and the mother, you need to stone them. Don't worry, we have not been doing that, okay? Russell, I know that you're teaching this mitzvah to your children, okay? I see you there. Let me share with you exactly the words of the Torah of this mitzvah. You shall not have in your pocket alternate weights, larger and smaller. You shall not have in your house alternate measures, larger and smaller. You must have completely honest weights and completely honest measures if you are to endure long on the soil that your God Adonai is giving to you. For me, this is the center of this week Torah portion, a very simple mitzvah that we overlook. There's stories about what happens if you take someone captive in war, or if you have 2 wives, not permitted either, or if your child misbehaves. There's some things that are more in the spotlight. But usually we are not in those contexts. But we all have weights. And we all have rocks to measure and weight. Maybe not literally, but they used to have that. Rashi, in the 11th century, explained what is this law all about. You know that in ancient times, in order to sell and to buy, every owner of a store would have a scale. And if you are buying grain or rice, you will say, I want 18 ounces. As an Argentinian, I don't have a clue what ounces is. But let's go with the flow. 18 ounces of rice. And there will be a rock over there that will say 18. So they will put it in the scale. When it was even, meant this is exactly what I need to give you as the seller. And if I want to buy, I will do the same. And people used to have in their pockets these rocks of weights in order to buy and sell. But people in ancient times, if they wanted to have a little bit of more profit, what would they do? Instead, when they were selling something, in the rock that was written 18 ounces, when they were selling something, the rock will actually weight more or less. Less. So maybe it will be written 18, but maybe it's only 16 or 15 ounces, and he will have the extra profit of those. And then when he had in the pocket and he was going to buy something, he will take out the rock that says 18, and he will put in the scale, but actually it had 20, 21, in order to get a little bit more. And the Torah is telling us in this week Torah portion that in our pockets and in our homes, we should have rocks that are tzedek, emet betzedek, true and righteous. If it's weighting 18 ounces, it's 18. It's not 17, it's not 19. You need to be honest. Why? Because the rabbis in the Talmud, they say, more strict are the prohibitions of cheating in business than any other commandment in the entire Torah. Look what the Mesilat Yesharim says about people that cheat in business. There's no more bad adjectives about any transgression than this one. Anything else. Even for idolaters, there's not so many adjectives. People who cheat in business are unjust, hated, abominable, condemned, and abhorrent. I don't know how to pronounce that word. About any other mitzvah, they talk about this. People that try to take advantage of those, let's earn a little bit more, let's give a little bit less. And you know that according to the Talmud, the first question that when we die, they ask us in heaven is not how much time we devoted in studying Torah, how much tzedakah we gave, how many times a day we prayed, is nasata venatata ve'emunah. Have you dealt in your business relationship faithfully? But many of us, we don't have scales any longer. And I'm sure that in your pockets, if I ask you, show me your pockets, it's not me trying to rob you, but you won't have rocks. You won't have stones. But I believe that in some way or another, we still have them. Because you need to ask yourself, if the Torah is eternal, how do we fulfill this mitzvah today in the year 2025 when we are not measuring with scales, when we don't have these rocks in our pockets or measure machines in our homes? How do we fulfill this mitzvah? I think by understanding this mitzvah in the following way, that we still judge the world with uneven measures. What is the Torah inviting us to do in this mitzvah? To measure the world, to see the world and judge the world with only one rock, with even measures. And even today, we measure different people with different rocks. We still transgress this mitzvah. For example, we consider our mistakes as a little pebble, but the mistakes of others like a giant rock. If we do something wrong, we say, it wasn't so bad. But when somebody else does something wrong, exactly the same thing that we do, it's a giant rock in our eyes. Also, it's uneven the way that we forgive. If we like the person, we forgive it very easily. That's almost not weight on that stone and that mistake. But if we do not like that person, it will be almost impossible for us to forgive, because for us their transgression was like a giant rock. Also think that we are unfair and we have different measures of how we talk about our achievements and how we talk about our failings. Usually people, they shout out loud their achievements, they share with everyone with a lot of pride, and they just whisper their failures. And this mitzvah is telling us, talk about your achievements in the same tone that you talk about your failures. If you're going to be so proud to share to the world all the great things that you do, also share in the same way the mistakes, the things that did not work. We complain, and we have been complaining, and I think with reason, in the last 700 days, how the world judged Israel with other measures. And that, believe me, even though we try, we cannot control. But the question is, can we control how we judge others, how we judge ourselves? And I think this should be one of the main questions that we should ask ourselves going toward Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. Do we have only one set of stones and we judge our actions, the actions of others, the people that we hate, the people that we love, our mistakes, our achievements in the same way? And if someone in this room tell me that they have only one stone, I don't believe you. I don't have it and you do not have it. And if Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur will have some kind of sense, the first thing that we need to do is to be true with ourselves. If we lie to ourselves and say, no, I judge everybody in the same way, liar. You don't do it and I don't do it. That's why the Torah makes sense. The Torah is not going to ask something that is natural for us to breathe. It's going to ask something that is a challenge. And this is the call of Elul. The rabbis in the Midrash, they tell us that depending on the profession, every couple of weeks or months, people were obligated to clean and polish those stones. Because with the amount of time, there's debris and there's dust that add to that stone, for that reason the weight will change. So let me offer to you this metaphor. I'm sure that when we are born, and I'm positive because I see this with each one of our children, we are born with a stone that has the exact weight for everything. It's the same what they do and others do. There's no difference if they love or they dislike. But with time, there's debris, there's dust, and our weights start to be a little bit more uneven year after year. And the invitation of this month of Elul, preparing ourselves for Rosh Hashanah, is this. Is the opportunity to really look to the mirror and see what are the stones that are uneven in our lives. What are the things that we do not judge ourselves and others, people, nations, religions that we like and we do not like, with the same weight, with the same rock. And why? Because one of the most important teachings of the Talmud towards Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur is B'midah shadam moded ba, modedim oto. With the measure that people measure, God is going to measure them. Once again, in the way that we measure others, God is going to measure us. If we are very strict with others, God is going to be very strict with us. If we are very compassionate with others, God is going to be compassionate with us. If we are compassionate with ourselves, God is going to be compassionate with us. If we are too strict with ourselves, God is going to do the same. God replicates in the high heavens what we do here on the earth. Let us enter this Yamim Noraim not with stones of duplicity hidden in our pockets, but with a single stone of wholeness upon our heart, a stone polished by truth and a stone balanced with mercy, a stone that when weighed on God's scales will not condemn us, but will show that we try to live with fairness, humility, and compassion. Shabbat Shalom. And now, please rise for Aleinu Shabeach. And let me invite all our future Bnei and Bnot Mitzvah that are in the room, that I see a lot, in that, yes, all of you, come, girls, come. Come to open the ark for us. I saw them, so you start to get used to the bima. So the bima becomes your friend. Page 586 to conclude our services, Aleinu Leshabeach.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגבור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
We remain standing on page 598 for the mourners Kaddish, to honor those who passed away recently, or today we are observing the Yortzeit of their passing. And together with all the names that we are going to be reading this evening, especially marking 700 days since October 7, we are going to remember the exactly 900 soldiers from the IDF that perished since that day too. We also remember Rabbi David Oberbach, Stella Becker, Mitch Bruston, Fanny Frank, Dory Fromberg, Hyman Goldberg, Donald Hirsch, Joyce Hurwitz, Lindsay Jacobi, Jeremy Kahn, Morton Mattel, Frida Osterher, Mary Paris, Clara Carl Perlman, Ira Jeffrey Pever, Sarah Sandler and Alan Sandler, Phyllis Simon, Irene Sorkin, Raymond Sperry, Peter Tav, Lawrence Warr, Eva Weisberger, Estelle Weschler, and David Sitowitz. In their memory, together, the Mourners Kaddish. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועל מה דיברה חירותי בהמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולמי עולמיה, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפואר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לעילה מן כל ברכתה בשירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירם בלמה ואמרו אמן. יהא שלמה רבה מן שמיה, בחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. We may be seated and we invite Matt Bogdanov to share the announcements.
Good evening, everybody, and good Shabbos. My name is Matt Bogdanoff. I'm your Vice President of Membership. I'm sure everybody got their encyclopedia. If not, you get it digitally at 8 a.m. every Friday morning. Please make sure if you have not got your new car decals, do so. Two things I will highlight is our synagogue has a professional business networking circle that will be on September 10th. If you have any interest in getting involved or more information, David Lane sitting in the back chairs it. He can answer those questions. Then, speaking about polishing things and gathering dust, it's perfect because Susan Snyder will be helping on Thursday, September 11th from 12 to 1. We'll be polishing all the silver at the synagogue to get ready for the high holidays. And with that, please check this out. There's a lot of incredible things to do. And now I will turn it back to the rabbi.
That was in the top 10 of the shortest announcement ever. And it's a good top 10 to be, believe me. Shabbat Shalom. Welcome, everyone. Especially welcome, Nisa. It's so good to see you. And if this is your first time in our synagogue, please come to say hi at the end of the service so we can get to know you and show you everything that we have to offer. And please stay for dinner. We always have dinner, so please stay and enjoy. And together with Rabbi Snyderman, we say thank you to Rabbi Snyderman, thank you to Andy, and thank you to Gaston, Rabbi Gaston, too, for leading the Shabbat service this evening, while our Rabbi Cantor Mark is leading service at TVO. And with no further ado, we tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m., we have Shabbat morning services. And now we invite the angels of Shabbat and our kids to come to the bima with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem,
Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedkem leShalom,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushan b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'yahava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemase v'reheshit ki hu yom techila lemikrahei kodesh zecher litziat mitzrayim ki banu v'charta ve'otanu kiddashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat.
Shalom.